Hi, I'm Adamsdownboy, and welcome to part 4 of our guide to the Destiny 2 reprised version of the King's Fall raid. With me are my Muthaclucker clanmates, Albaora, Alex, Dazzy, Electric Sheep, Tooks and Zone Runner, who will demonstrate the first proper boss encounter against Oryx's Warpriest, and we show that even if you decide not to use Divinity, you should still be able to finish him off. And we do that deliberately. Yes, that. I'll apologise now for some of the fireteam voices being a little quiet throughout. This is only our second video and we're still learning how to set up for these guides, so it's something we'll need to check for in future. Well, you've proved yourself worthy of facing the Warpriest by collecting Deathsinger's power in the Totems encounter. Your aim now is to challenge him to prove your power to then challenge Oryx, as is the way of the sword logic. In simpler terms, you need to open an exit portal by killing him. To do so, you'll need to remove his invulnerability shield by claiming the brand of the initiate after stepping on 3 plates in the correct order. These plates become active only after killing all the adds that appear in each phase to start a glyph reading sequence. This is the second encounter in Basilica, and as the first boss encounter in the raid, you'll now be working with an enrage timer as well as revive tokens and the individual mechanic timers. When you enter the room, after finishing the totems, you'll see 3 areas of varying heights on left, middle and right, each with a capture plate. In the central area, there are also 3 pillars with runes on, and a platform at the back with what looks like a large blight floating above, called the Oculus, which is the Warpriest's oversoul. This is the platform that the boss will appear on. If you want to know more about the lore behind the Warpriest and this encounter, My Name is Bife has a handy YouTube video for you that I'll post in the video description. There are a couple of ways of organising your fireteam depending on how experienced your members are. Both involve splitting up into 3 teams of 2, and within each team both will be involved with clearing ad spawns. The Clucker way is to give everyone something to do so everyone feels like they're contributing. One member of each team will be the reader, responsible for stepping on their plate when told and reading where the next plate is located. You'll also need to allocate claimers. They will hunt down and kill a Blightguard Taken Knight to extend the damage timer in the boss DPS phase. If you have an inexperienced raider in your fireteam, the central area is the easiest to handle, as only red bar enemies and a single orange bar knight will spawn here, so they'll just need to kill adds. In this case, the claimers will be the second non-reader guardians on the left and right sides. The left claimer will cover left or centre knights, and the right claimer covers right and centre. The encounter is started by all 3 plates being stepped on and activated at the same time by the readers. The Warpriest will spawn and start shooting his cannon and Axion bolts at any guardians in view, followed a few seconds later by waves of Hive Thrall, Cursed Thrall, Acolytes and occasional knights around the arena. During the spawns, 2 yellow bar blistered wizards will spawn in on the left and right sides, and once they are killed, ideally all finished by Aeon Gauntlet users, an orange bar Revenant Knight will spawn in all 3 areas, which will be the last ad in the ad phase. When these are killed, the message Glyph Reading Sequence Started appears, indicating that it's time to solve a simple puzzle. If you need to collect power ammo generated by Aeon users on each side, it's possible to give the rest of the fireteam time by deliberately leaving 1 orange bar knight alive. To read the glyph sequence, the centre plate reader steps on their plate. As they do this, the message Glyph Sequence Started appears on screen. The centre reader then looks to see if a bright white light is visible on the backside of the left or right pillar. If it is, they'll call out its location and step off the middle plate. The guardian on the side called out steps on and looks for the next white light, calling that out for the next guardian to step on, and finally the remaining guardian will step on the last plate. If the centre reader can't see a light on either pillar, that means that the first light is behind the centre pillar, in which case they will need to step off the plate, step on again and then look for the second light in the sequence to call out. If a capture plate is stepped on out of sequence, the message Glyph Released Sequence Broken will appear on screen. The plates will all turn red and anyone standing on one will start to take damage. All readers will need to step off and restart the sequence from the centre reader, looking to see which is the first plate. If you do take too long, the damage phase will end and the Warpriest will call on his Oculus. Chances are you'll be scattered throughout the Basilica arena, so this will likely result in a wipe. Assuming it all goes well, with all 3 plates correctly activated and turned green, the last of the 3 readers will receive the first stack of the Brand of the Initiate, which has a 20-second timer, and they'll emit a red aura. It used to be that when the glyph reading sequence started, the readers on left and right stepped on their plates together, and then the middle reader stepped on the middle plate, stepped off, and on again. One of the readers at random then gained the first stack of Brand of the Initiate. I had a feeling this was going to be patched, which is why I asked the Cluckers to run both for the video. As this was still possible in Season 18, you'll see us use this for the first round of glyph reading, and then the official method for the second and third. Fireteam members must be standing in the aura and have the Aura of the Initiate buff on screen to be able to damage the Warpriest. As a fireteam, you should agree where you'll be dealing damage from in advance. The Cluckers have standardised doing DPS from between the centre and right columns by default, only moving to the top left platform for the third phase if both the brand is given to the reader on the left plate and the boss damage isn't looking good, so it looks like a fourth phase will be needed. There are other options, such as standing on one side of the boss platform or the DPS team moving to where the brand is. Just make sure everyone's on the same page. The Brand of the Initiate buff timer can be extended twice by fireteam members finding and killing 2 taken Blightguard Knights and picking up the Brand Claimer Orb. The Knights never spawn in the area that the Aura Carrier's plate was, so the first Knight will spawn in one of 2 possible areas and the second will be in the remaining area. In this example, after stepping on the centre plate initially in step 1, the reader there sees the light appear behind the right column and steps off the plate calling out right in step 2. The right reader steps on the right capture plate in step 3. When it is activated, in step 4, the right reader sees that the next light is behind the left column and calls out left so that the left reader steps on. With only one column left for step 5, the left reader doesn't need to look for the light, it can only be in the centre plate, which the centre reader steps on. As they do so, as the last of the 3 readers to stand on a capture plate, the centre reader gets the Brand of the Initiate and proceeds to the damage phase. With the aura being collected from the centre, we know that the Extender Knights will spawn on the left and right platforms. Here, if the centre reader can't see a light after stepping on the plate initially in step 1, that means that the light is behind the middle column as shown in step 2. They will need to step off as per step 3 and then step back on to activate the plate and reveal the next light to call out, in this case the left side plate in step 5. The sequence proceeds as before with the left reader stepping on and calling to the right reader to step on their plate in step 6. As the third plate in step 7, the right reader gets the brand and the knights will be spawning on the left platform and in the middle. With the Brand Claimer Orb collected, the holder, the 2 unbuffed readers and the team member not needed to kill the Extender Knight head off to the DPS area to start damaging the boss. The 2 claimers wait for their knights to spawn, kill them, interact with the relic to obtain the Brand Claimer buff, and then head back to the DPS area and join in with damaging the Warpriest. The claimers should claim their brand in the order in which they were collected. To maximise your DPS time, the first brand holder should count down from 10 seconds and at 1 second the first brand claimer should steal the brand. This will reset the timer to 15 seconds. Again, the second holder should count down from 10 seconds for the second brand claimer to steal the brand at 1 second to reset the timer a final time to 10 seconds. Failing to steal the brand either time will mean the holder will die and the timer will finish. If the current brand holder is quiet, the waiting claimer should prompt them by calling out for the timer. The second claimer should count down from 5 seconds. Once the Aura of the Initiate buff has run out, damage phase is over and you will need to shelter as the Warpriest calls on the Oculus. The whole fireteam will need to shelter in the shadow of one of the columns for as long as the message searing torrent appears on screen to survive. Any column with guardians behind it will be destroyed, so it's important everyone is behind the same column, as when all 3 are gone you will have nowhere to shelter and the team will wipe when the Oculus is active, forcing the encounter to be restarted. The Clucker way is to shelter behind the central column first, as this reduces the cover the Warpriest has for subsequent phases, then the right column as that's the next closest to the damage area, and then finally, if needed, the left column as it's the hardest to reach quickly because of its height. Throughout the damage phase, the Warpriest will continue firing back with his cannon, Axion bolts, retaliation swarms, similar to those from Taken Hobgoblin snipers, and darkness bolts. Standing in the Clucker damage area, head glitches the Warpriest's return boomer fire unless he's standing close to the front of the platform, so all you will need to worry about are his retaliation swarm attacks. Once you've survived the Oculus attack, the 3 teams return to their original locations and the fire team rinses and repeats until the Warpriest is dead. Once a column has been destroyed, the light that indicates which plate to step on next will appear as a floating red flame rather than a white light. The second way to organise is to split into a holder and a gunner in each team of 2. Holders act as combination readers and claimers, stepping on the plates, but then if they don't receive the first stack of brand of the initiate, then remaining behind to kill the extender knight while the aura holder and the 3 gunners take position for boss DPS. The advantage to this arrangement is that if you're on a plate and you don't gain the aura, you know without the need for any communication that there will be a knight spawning near your plate. Gunners are responsible for ad clear only and are dedicated to boss DPS in the damage phase. After the Warpriest has taken more than 50% damage, taken enemies will replace hive ones. Apart from altering spawn points, this makes little difference to the mechanics for the rest of the encounter. You'll have up to 4 damage phases to kill the Warpriest. Your initial phase and then 1 for each rune column, which should be plenty of time even if you miss an extender knight or fail to steal the brand in time. Once the Warpriest is dead, the reward chest will appear on the platform next to him. You can drop the Smite of Merain pulse rifle or Defiance of Yasmin sniper rifle, chest, arm or leg armour from this chest. There's no great difference in loadouts for anyone in the fire team, no matter their role. Everyone will be killing adds and mages and doing boss damage. For your weapon loadouts, again, adds will be at close to mid-range and, as ever, traits that help clear adds quickly, like Incandescent, Dragonfly, Firefly or Vault Shot, are top tier. You'll need a special weapon to burst down the knights and wizards, like a fusion rifle, glaive or shotgun, and a boss damage weapon. As at Season 18, linear fusion rifles spec'd for sustained DPS, with magazine extending traits like triple tap, 4 times the charm or clown cartridge, and damage traits like firing line, bait and switch and frenzy are the top choice. Divinity, if you have it available, is useful. The Warpriest does move about, so something that makes landing crits more easily is welcome, as is the debuff even after the nerf. But it's not essential, as we so deliberately chose to illustrate, and absolutely not because anyone forgot to equip it before kicking things off. Ideally, one person on both left and right sides will be using Aeon Gauntlets to finish the yellow bar and orange bar enemies for power and special weapon ammo for the rest of the fire team. You'll be relying on power weapons for damage against the Warpriest, so this can be very helpful. Remember that using an exotic primary weapon improves the drop rate for special and power ammo boxes, but only for yourself. For the boss DPS phase, it's useful to have 1 or 2 Well of Radiance Warlocks. As well as increasing your damage output, it also protects the fire team from the Warpriest's attacks. If you only have 1 well, you'll probably need to use a healing rift and might want 1 or more guardians to be running healing grenades. Warlocks should be in roles that don't require killing extender knights so that they are guaranteed they will be there for the start of the damage phase. If you're using Divinity, the person carrying it should also not have knight killing duties. Once the DPS phase is finished and the next round of adds starts to spawn, the rest of the fire team should use their supers to create orbs that the Warlocks can collect to have wells ready for the following damage phase. This is also a good time to go and collect the power ammo that people using Aeon Gauntlets have generated. You can use remote offensive supers for boss DPS as long as you're standing in the aura when the damage is being done, so don't jump up too high before activation. Hunters have a range of great boss damage options like Gathering Storm, Golden Gun, Blade Barrage or Silence and Squall. If you don't have other debuff options, then Void Deadfall Shadow Shot can help with damage output, but will generally be of more use generating orbs near the spawn doors in the add phases for Well Warlocks to recharge with. If you have a surplus of Warlocks, they should use the Vortex Nova Bomb for boss damage, as the Cataclysm Slover Bomb can get in the way of your fire team hitting the Warpriest until it detonates, and Chaos Reach just doesn't do enough damage as at Season 19 for the time it takes to discharge to make it worth it. Solar Titans can hold down spawn points easily with their abilities by creating and standing in a sunspot and letting adds come out or run over to them and be incinerated, and can use their super to generate orbs from adds for Well Warlocks to use. For the guided video, I've added icons next to the readers' names in the second and third damage phases to indicate where the rune column lights appear with a blue star when they're called out, and who currently has the brand of the initiate with a blue star inside a red circle. Underneath the claimers, you'll see a knight next to the name to show where the extender knight spawns, and then a knight with a red cross through it to indicate who currently has killed their knight and collected the brand claimer buff. I hope, if you're unfamiliar with the raid, that this makes the encounter a little easier to follow. As you'll see, the Cluckers have set up with Sheep as reader and Zone as claimer on the left, Tooks and Alba in the middle, and Dazzy and Alex on the right. To start the encounter, Sheep, Tooks and Dazzy step on the capture plates at the same time. The Warpriest appears, and shortly after, Hive Ad starts spawning in.
Started.
We did decide who's on div, right?
No, you didn't.
Maybe not.
Alright. No
Aim
div.
for the head.
Oh, you'll get some special. I don't know if you pop on there.
You are special, don't worry.
Is there any orange bars here?
There will be
special.
yellow bars. Oh, special?
No orange.
No orange bars, no.
Dazzy and Sheep finish the yellow bar wizards to generate power ammo for the rest of the team.
Not for now. Finished.
Wait for
Yeah.
The orange bar knights appear. This is the last ad to spawn on each side. After killing them, the message "Glyph reading sequence started" appears on screen. First, we show the cheese, with Tooks checking everyone's ready, Sheep and Dazzy both calling out that they're standing on the left and right plates, and then Tooks stepping on, off, and back on the central plate. Dazzy gets the first stack of Aura of the Initiate with the 20-second timer, makes his way to the Clucker damage area, and drops a well. Everyone makes their way to the damage area except Alba and Zone, who stay behind to kill the centre and left side extender knights when they spawn. Alex stays on the right-hand side, despite that being the size plate that gained the first Aura stack, just in case a knight defies everything we know about the raid mechanics and spawns there. Probably.
Actually, the sword knights are orange bars.
Yep, they are.
I don't think they're finishable though.
You can finish them. 100%.
Can you?
Can you?
No, I can't finish mine.
No, you can't.
Oh, it's not able to do it.
Okay, knights are dead.
Left and right on your plate.
Okay.
Yep. You want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alba's extender knight in the centre is first to spawn. After killing it, she picks up the brand claimer buff and makes her way to the damage area to DPS the Warpriest, while the left side knight spawns in and Zone kills it, grabs the buff and joins the DPS team.
In. Out.
Main knight first.
Dazzy counts down the timer on the first stack of the Aura of the Initiate. When he gets to 2 seconds, Alba steals the brand from him to take the Aura's second stack and start the 15-second timer. After killing the left extender knight, Zone makes his way to the damage zone.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sheep prompts a time call and Alba counts down from 6 seconds. Zone steals the brand at 2 seconds to take the third Aura stack, and then the final 10-second damage window extension starts. Alex finally ends his lonely vigil and joins the DPS team. Zone counts down from 3 so that the fireteam can get to the central pillar to shelter from the Oculus.
Timer.
Oh.
Got it. Three, 2, 1, we're out.
Okay.
Wait,
This is not even being recorded, right? Because I was waiting on the right for the knight to spawn. For like 20 seconds or something. So I lost like 2 damage phases.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to reset it and someone get on div? Okay.
Oh, you either get the damage.
Let's wait for the director.
And again, I was waiting on the right side for a knight that didn't exist.
There's heavy right side.
What the heck?
Oh wait, there's an adept on here as well.
Wow.
Wait, does that wizard dead?
The other one is next to me.
Oh, there it is.
Wizard sword. Yeah. Nice. Plenty of ammo.
For the second damage phase, the fire team demonstrates the legit glyph reading method. First, Tukes returns from his quest for ammo, steps onto the central plate and sees the white light behind the right-hand rune column and calls right. Dazzy steps onto the right plate and sees the red flame where the central rune column was and calls that out. Tukes steps on the central plate and calls out left. It's the only one left, so he doesn't need to look, and Sheep steps on the plate to gain the first stack of the Aura of the Initiate for the second boss damage phase.
We're doing legit this time.
Knight.
Legit.
Yeah, no, this one.
Knight on the right is going down. Sequence.
Okay. Right first.
Middle.
Middle on. Left.
I don't have wrong for this one.
Oh, sorry, 2, 1. I'm really sorry.
Timer.
7, 6, 5.
0. Sorry.
Oh yeah, we're getting this space.
Plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
I'll now let the video of the rest of the encounter play out so you can see the cycle of ad clearing, glyph reading, extender knight killing, brand claiming and boss damage. For this you can watch the readers during the glyph reading sequence and the claimers as they kill their extender knights, pausing to apply what you know of the mechanics, or you can watch across the whole fire team to understand the flow of communication between them.
You've been. Is it heavy on the left, Sheep? You've been.
Also heavy on the right. Yeah.
There's heavy on the hard, but I think I killed all of my witches by accident last time.
That'll explain the distinct lack of heavy.
Yeah.
There's another one here that we can finish.
She just killed
He's
another.
finishable. On
Coming to you, yeah. Just getting some kills.
you need to get the kill.
Nah, I'll just need to get some Nova as well.
Sequence.
Yeah, I'm going. Wait, sorry, for heavy.
Are we going top left or just go for the kill?
Cool. It is left first.
Middle.
Right.
Left knight first.
Timer.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Shut up.
1.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
And it's divinity, right?
Exactly.
Salt is right.
Okay.
Alright,
Technical difficulties.
saving the videos.
So that's the Warpriest down and the first boss encounter finished for Kingsfall. We've demonstrated, very obviously deliberately of course, that even without divinity and one person missing pretty much all of a damage phase, it's still possible to finish the encounter without too much of a problem. I'd like to thank Kyber from kyber3000.com for permission to use the Raid Loot infographic, and from all of us in the Muthacluckers, thank you for watching, we hope that's helped you, and may all your drops be God rolls.